Welcome to this podcast episode brought to you by AGS Agriculture Global Solutions, your partner for better farming practices in Malaysia.
It's great to be here.
Today we're going to look at something I think a lot of us take for granted, and that's the look of a good farm. You know what I mean? If you drive through Johor or Pahang, you see these oil palm estates, and the good ones are always clean, tidy. You see that bare red earth between the palms.
That's absolutely the image. It's become the gold standard, hasn't it? For decades, that's what well-managed has looked like.
Exactly. And there's a bit of, peer pressure there. If your neighbor drives past your plot and it's full of ferns and grass, he's not thinking, oh, look at that biodiversity.
No, he's thinking that farmer is lazy. Or worse, maybe that you've run out of money for herbicide.
Right. And that gets talked about at the Kadaiko page.
It does. But today we need to kind of pull that apart, separate the social pressure from the actual science of growing oil palm. Because if you look at your budget, for most smallholders, what's the biggest cost after fertilizer?
Herbicides, weed killers.
Exactly. Glyphosate, glufosinate. You're spending a lot of money on that stuff. And the logic has always been, well, it's pretty simple.
It's that I paid good money for my fertilizer to feed my palms. I'm not going to let a bunch of weeds steal it.
That's the fear. That's the core belief. But what if that belief is wrong? We're going to look at a study from Riau in Sumatra that really puts that idea to the test.
Okay, but Riau is Indonesia. How relevant is that for a smallholder here in Malaysia?
Geographically, it's right next door. But more importantly, the conditions are almost identical. It was a mature plantation, palms about 25 years old, on these heavy, iron-rich clay soils.
The same kind of laterite soils we have everywhere here.
The very same. Same rainfall, same problems.
Yeah.
So what they found there is directly applicable to us.
All right, so what did they do? What was the setup for this trial?
Well, they didn't just want to see how to kill weeds. They want to see what happens when you don't. So they set up 3 different blocks side by side, each with a completely different philosophy.
3 philosophies. Okay, walk me through them.
So first you have what they call the reduced complexity block.
Okay.
Think of that as the clean farm. They went in heavy with herbicides, sprayed everything. The ground was just bare soil.
The golf course look, the one we all know.
Precisely. Then you have the normal complexity block. This is what most estates do. A bit of spraying, a bit of manual slashing, kind of a middle-of-the-road approach.
Right.
But the third one, the enhanced complexity block,
Right.
that's where it gets really interesting.
Enhanced, expensive.
It's the opposite, actually.
Mm-hmm.
In that block, they banned herbicides.
Send them. So no chemicals at all.
0. The only thing they did was use a brush cutter to keep the harvesting paths clear and to clean the circle. Everything else, the whole interrow, they just let it grow into this lush green carpet of soft weeds and ferns.
I can feel smallholders listening to this starting to sweat. My first thought is my palms are going to turn yellow. That green carpet is just going to suck up all my nitrogen.
That is the #1 fear, right?
That's
So that's exactly what they measured. They took soil samples from all 3 blocks over 2 years and tested everything. N, pK, pH, all of it.
What did they find? Did the green blocks starve the palms?
The results were honestly almost boring. There was 0 statistical difference in soil fertility.
Hold on. 0. You're telling me the plot with a jungle of ferns growing on it had the exact same amount of available nutrients for the palm as the bare, scorched earth?
Statistically identical. Nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, pH, all the same. The green cover made no difference to the nutrient levels in the soil for the palm.
How is that even possible? I mean, basic biology says plants compete. If I put a weed in a pot with my chili plant suffers.
And a pot, yes. Absolutely. But a plantation isn't a pot. It's all about the root systems. A mature oil palm has these incredibly deep, extensive feeder roots. They own that soil profile.
Yeah.
Now, what about the weeds they let grow? The nephrolepis ferns, the soft grasses, their roots are really shallow. They're just skimming off the very top layer. They're not even at the same dinner table as the oil palm.
So it's like they're living in 2 different worlds, even though they're in the same field.
That's a perfect way to put it. The palm is so dominant, so efficient, that the understory just can't compete enough to make any real difference.
That's huge. Because if I'm spending, say, 15, maybe 20% of my costs on herbicides to stop nutrient theft, and there is no nutrient theft.
Then you are effectively just burning that money. You're paying a lot to solve a problem that doesn't actually exist.
Wow. Okay, that hurts. But let's flip it around. If the nutrients are the same, why not just keep it clean? It looks nice. It makes harvesting easy. Is there a downside to the clean approach besides the cost?
A massive downside.
Yeah.
And it's happening where you can't see it, underground. The study also measured Well, life. They counted the bugs in the soil.
The macrofauna.
Yes, the soil engineers, your earthworms, your millipedes, woodlice, beetles, the little guys who actually build and maintain your soil.
And I'm guessing there was a difference there.
It was night and day. In the green blocks, the population of these creatures just exploded. It was a thriving, bustling city down there.
And the bare sprayed blocks.
The ghost town. The numbers just cratered. And you have to think about why that matters for us here in Malaysia. Think about our red clay soils when they dry out.
They turn into concrete. Seriously, hard as a rock.
That's soil compaction. And it's a huge problem. When you spray everything bare, the sun bakes it, the rain hammers it, and it just seals up. Water can't get in. But those earthworms and beetles in the green block, they're your free workforce. They're digging tunnels 24/7.
You're aerating the soil.
Constantly. They're creating little channels that let the rainwater soak deep into the ground instead of just washing off the surface.
And taking my fertilizer with it.
Exactly. You lose water, you lose your expensive inputs. That green carpet acts like a sponge. It slows the water down, and the worm tunnels give it somewhere to go. So by spraying, you're essentially firing your entire underground maintenance crew.
I like that. Firing the maintenance crew. It really drives home that we're managing a whole system, not just a tree.
And that system needs to recycle nutrients. This was another part of the study. They tested how fast old oil palm fronds would decompose in the different blocks.
So they basically buried some old leaves to see how fast they'd rot.
Pretty much. Because a dead frond is just locked up nutrients. You want that back in the soil for the tree to use again.
And I'm guessing the green block won that race too.
Oh, by a mile. The decomposition rate was significantly faster in the green block.
And that matters because
it turns that locked up nutrient bank account back into cash that the tree can spend. In the hot, dry, lifeless soil of the bare block, that frond just sits there. It mummifies. But under the green cover, it's moist, it's humid, and it's full of bugs and fungi ready to break it down. It recycles everything so much faster.
that sponge effect again. It's not just holding water, it's creating a whole microclimate.
And that is so critical for us. Think about the dry season. When you have bare soil, it bakes. The surface temperature goes through the roof and the palm gets stressed.
Which means a lower yield months down the line.
Exactly. But the green cover acts like insulation. It keeps the soil cooler, keeps it moist. It's like an insurance policy against drought.
Okay, science is clear. The clean farm idea is basically an expensive myth. So let's get practical. I'm a smallholder. I've been spraying for years. What do I do tomorrow?
Right. It's about a new SOP, a new way of thinking. We're not saying let the jungle take over. We're saying manage the green.
So step one.
Step one. Stop blanket spraying the interrows. Just stop, put the knapsack sprayer away for those big open areas.
And switch to a brush cutter? Apart.
So say you switch to selective mechanical weeding.
Right.
And you have to learn who your friends are and who your enemies are.
Okay, who are the friends? What do I want to keep?
Your best friend is the Nephrolepis fern, the pakupakis.
Yeah.
It's got shallow roots, holds moisture, it's perfect. Soft grasses, also good.
What about things like Essistasia with the little white flowers? It's everywhere.
It can be a bit aggressive, but in a mature stand, it's fine. It actually breaks down really fast, which is good for nutrient cycling. Just don't let it climb the palms.
And the enemies. What needs to go?
Anything woody.
Yeah.
Anything that's going to get tall and hard. Melastoma, wild rubber seedlings, things that will actually grow into a bush or a tree and compete for sunlight, those you chop out.
So soft and green is good, hard, and woody is bad.
Got it. Now, what about the circle? That's the big one. I need that clear for loose fruit collection.
100%. That's a real operational need. So the compromise is this. You can keep the circle clean, but it doesn't have to be poisoned earth. You can slash it right down to the ground.
Or maybe a very light targeted spray just in that area. You could, but slashing is even better. Because if you just cut the leaves, the grass roots stay alive and they keep the soil from compacting.
Yeah.
So keep the circle and a harvesting path clear, but let the interrows be green.
And this has a health benefit too, right, for the farmer themselves.
The huge one. If you're the one carrying that sprayer, you're the one breathing in the chemical drift. By switching to mechanical weeding for, say, 80% of the area, you're massively reducing your own exposure. It's just a safer way to work.
Okay, let's just summarize the whole economic case here, because farming is a business.
Right. It's simple. 1, your costs go down, you're buying way less herbicide, that's cash in your pocket.
2,
2, your risk goes down. Your soil is more resilient to drought and floods, you lose less fertilizer, your yield becomes more stable.
and 3,
3, your asset value goes up, You're actively building better, healthier soil, you're preventing compaction, you're investing in the long-term health of your land.
And all of that with no drop in yield.
The science shows the yield is unaffected. So you get lower costs, great yield. That's a better profit margin. It's that simple.
It's funny, we started out talking about the lazy farmer, but it sounds like the farmer who's constantly spraying, stressing about every weed, they're the one who's actually wasting time and money.
Sometimes the smartest thing you can do is less. Let nature do some of the work. We're fighting a system that's been perfected over millions of years. It's smarter to work with it.
So the new definition of a good farm isn't how tidy it looks, it's how alive it is.
That's it, exactly. If your neighbor says your farm looks messy, invite them over. Ask them to try and dig a hole in their baked, hard soil and then show them the dark, moist, living soil on your land.
That's a great final thought. We have to stop farming just for looks. The understory isn't an enemy, it's a tool.
Let it work for you. Don't be afraid of the green.
Remember to visit our AI farming assistant at cropdrive.ai to learn more on how to increase your oil palm yields and incomes. Thanks for listening.